We are here today outside the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, the highest court in the land, to show our solidarity for Palestinian lawyers who are being targeted by the Israeli occupation. In particular, we are here to demand freedom for imprisoned Palestinian lawyer Muhammed Allan, who today is on day 23 of his hunger strike, and demand freedom for Palestinian human rights lawyer Shireen Issawi, who has been caged for over 1,200 days simply for defending Palestinian prisoners in Israeli occupation courts. 33-year-old Palestinian lawyer Muhammed Allan was abducted by the Israeli army from his home in the village of Issawi near Nablus on the occupied West Bank in a pre-dawn raid on the 8th of June 2017. To protest his imprisonment, Muhammed Allan has been on hunger strike since his abduction. Today marks 23 days without food. He is being held without charge or trial, currently languishing in solitary confinement as punishment for going on hunger strike. The only reason given by the occupation as to his abduction is that they don't like his Facebook posts. According to figures released by the Israeli Army and Security Service Shin Bet, in less than a year, the Israeli occupation forces and Shin Bet have arrested more than 400 Palestinians for Facebook posts critical of the occupation, and the names of another 400 were passed to the Israeli-backed Palestinian Authority for arrest as part of the policy of security coordination between the Palestinian Authority and Israel. Previously, in 2014, Muhammed Allan was also abducted by the occupation forces. The soldiers dragged him to his law office and forced him to hand over all his confidential client files to the occupation in disregard of attorney-client privilege laws. And then he was locked up without charge or trial under Israel's illegal system of administrative detention. He was caged for 6 months without any reason being given. Muhammed Allan demanded Israel either charge him and put him on trial so he can defend himself, or otherwise release him. At the end of the 6 months, Israel just renewed his administrative detention order for another 6 months. To protest, Muhammed Allan went on hunger strike. Both the Brussels-based International Association of Democratic Lawyers and the National Lawyers Guild in the United States urged Israel to release Muhammed Allan. Israel ignored their requests, and it took Muhammed 66 days of hunger strike to finally win his freedom in November 2015.
Administrative detention. Many Palestinians are caged without the formality of a charge, let alone a trial, or even a set length of sentence. People are just locked up indefinitely on the whim of the occupation under what is called administrative detention, a vile form of internment. Administrative detention orders can be up to 6 months long and can be renewed indefinitely, month after month, year after year. For example, administratively detained Mazin Nasej has been locked up currently for 10 years without charge or trial. Detention orders can be based on the so-called secret information, which needs to be produced either to the detainee nor lawyer, but often administrative detention is used on arbitrarily jailed Palestinians where there is no evidence for a trial or as punishment. Israel has on average issued over 2,000 detention orders every year. Today, 500 Palestinians are held under administrative detention orders. The United Nations Human Rights Office has condemned Israel's practice of administrative detention, demanding Israel end it, pointing out that it violates the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which Israel has ratified.
Well done.
Palestinian human rights lawyer Shireen has been imprisoned by Israel for defending Palestinian political prisoners and supporting their families. Shireen lives in the village of Issawi in occupied East Jerusalem. On the 6th of March 2014, Israeli forces surrounded her home. With helicopters circling above, they attacked, breaking the front door. They terrorized her elderly parents. But she wasn't in, so they dragged her to a nearby checkpoint and abducted her. She was dragged to Israel's infamous torture den at Jerusalem prison, called the Russian compound. For 2 months she endured their endless interrogation sessions, forced into torturous stress positions for hours, which has left her with permanent joint and back pain. She was caged in solitary confinement and denied family visits. Her weight dropped to just 39 kilograms. Despite the house abuse, she did not break, and in May 2014, they moved her to Hasharon Women's Prison near Haifa. 5 other lawyers were arrested at the same time as Shireen, including her brother Midhat and Amjad Safadi. Sadafi suffered 50 days of torture at the Russian compound. 5 days after his release, he was found hanged. Hasharon is a filthy prison infested with rats and cockroaches, where women prisoners have to endure beatings, insults, threats, sexually explicit harassment, and sexual violence, and humiliations at the hands of Israeli guards. They are often forced to undergo degrading strip searches during the middle of the night, forced to squat naked, and subjected to intrusive internal body searches for no other reason than a punitive measure. On the 3rd of May 2015, the prison guards at Hasharon savagely beat Shireen right across her entire body before taking her into isolation in Ramallah, in Ramleh, for several months. Her tiny cell was completely sealed with plastic, so there was no room for air until she choked and lost consciousness. Then, the prison administration removed the plastic from the door. In June 2015, Shireen went on hunger strike to protest the poor conditions. She said, "The cells lack the minimum requirements for life. I was forced to sleep on the floor without even a mattress. The guards confiscated my personal belongings. The cell had no amenities like water, and she was not allowed to buy any food." The Law Society of England and Wales, representing 145,000 solicitors, demanded that Israel immediately release Shireen or conduct her trial in accordance with international human rights standards. The Israeli military court, with its Palestinian convictions rate of 99.7%, ignored this petition, and on the 7th of May 2016, sentenced Shireen to 4 years imprisonment and her brother Midhat to 8 years. Shireen Issawi has always worked for prisoners' rights, and in 2014, she won the Swiss-based Al-Karama Award for Human Rights Defenders for her work for Palestinian prisoners. Her parents received the award in Geneva on her behalf. We are here to demand freedom for both Shireen Issawi and Muhammed Allan and all Palestinian political prisoners. We are here also to ask the legal profession in the UK and around the world to recognize Israel as a pariah state that has complete and total contempt for the law and to treat it as such. Free Muhammed Allan! Free Shireen Issawi! Free Palestine!
aussi, reste impliqué dans ce combat.